Hey guys, I promise this is going to be a really quick video. Just excited to tell you that I've just launched my new book. You can take a look at what it's about in the bio below this video. You can find it at a brilliant bookshop called books.by/anxiety project. In that book, I tell you the truth about the experiences of somebody with an anxiety condition who also has what has been called today neurodiversity, or is neurodivergent. In other words, somebody with an autistic spectrum disorder or ADHD, or that kind of difference in the way they function and process the world. The reason I smiled then is because there's just so much talk about these conditions now, and I want to try and dispel the myths, because it's so easy to get caught up in the whole sort of buzz and nonsense around these conditions now that would tell people that they are severe mental illnesses, that they are in some way disabilities. They're not. We're all neurodiverse. There are 8 billion plus people on this planet. Every single one of them is different to the other. And also, you know, if you look at different cultures and different ethnicities, and, you know, we're all so different and neurodiverse. We're physically diverse too, but our neurodiversity is very, very evident. And the thing is, if you focus on being different, it makes you different, but you're not different. Just because you have different capacities, different abilities, different focuses and intellectual engagements, just because you find this interesting and not this, and just because you act differently, look differently, or speak differently, doesn't mean that you're different. It means that you're the same as somebody or very close to somebody else. It's just you don't know them. And I grew up feeling very ostracized by my differences. And you know, even today, I feel ostracized by my differences, because society tends to judge people, you know, especially if they're honest, especially if they're, you know, nice. They question their motives. Why are you helping me? You know, why are you saying what you're saying? You know, what motives have you got? Why are you trying to help me? Do you want payment? It's that kind of culture we live in. It's bloody awful. So I wrote this book to explain what it was to suffer from an anxiety condition, which is fear disorder, and it is suffering because you can cure it, but also so that people, you know, that suffer can understand exactly what it is they're experiencing biologically, instead of the nonsense that they're fed by psychology and psychiatry, which is just so off the mark it's untrue. So it's a very specific sort of knowledge book of psychophysiology of an anxiety condition, whether it manifests as panic or agoraphobia, monophobia, or an eating disorder, or health anxiety, or self-harm, or, you know, postnatal anxiety, however it manifests. People need to know the truth. So that's the first part of it. The second part of it is seeing that through the eyes of somebody with an autistic spectrum disorder. Again, hate the label, ridiculous. We're all different. What, you know, why am I autistic and my brother isn't? It just doesn't make sense to me, because, you know, he has features I don't, I have features he doesn't. And the way that we interact with the world and the way that we process sensory data is different. Of course it's different. We're all different. But people need to see this as a strength rather than a weakness. It's not illness. It's not disorder. It certainly isn't mental illness. It is a difference, yes, a departure from the blueprint of normal, if you like, the hunter-gatherer. But isn't everybody a departure from hunter-gatherer? We're hunter-gatherers, all humans are. But how many hunter-gatherers do you know, except in the deepest parts of the Peruvian rainforest? You know, you find very few. The planet is dominated by people who are so unbelievably physically and neurodiverse, and yet they're not labeled neuro and physically diverse. So it's this nonsense around the naming strategy of people's manifestations. So I wrote this book so that I'm dovetailing together the experiences of an anxiety sufferer, the experiences of somebody that has, you know, processing differences, and because I have, and how that affected me through life with regard to my anxiety, but also just generally living life, and how those dovetail together to create what they create, and how parents and people with these issues, I'm calling them issues because I'm loath to call them anything more, because all they're having issue with is understanding it. The issue isn't with the condition, it's with understanding how to live with the condition, if it is a condition, and I don't believe they are. And that's what the book's about. And it's called Me, You, Anxiety, Neurodiversity, and it is just a very easy to read explanation for people to get some reassurance and guidance about what it is their loved one or they are experiencing, and putting it into real terms. basically lining up the ducks so there's some clarity and some some kind of transparency, because it's all too easy to get caught up in this fiction that you're told about yourself and to lose yourself in the fiction. I won't allow that to happen to anybody because it's just not fair. That's what the book's about. So in the link, you don't have to go and buy it. It's a printed book. You get free access to some online videos to help you to understand. And I believe it's the definitive gateway to understanding these conditions. Look, I'm not chronically autistic, as people would say. I haven't got high level or low level autism where I'm, non-communicative and I can't really hold a conversation or can't hold down a job. That's not me. That clearly isn't the truth. However, I do understand what it's like to perceive and interpret the world in a very different way to the next person, because I still have it. And I no longer suffer from anxiety or panic attacks. I've cured all that, long gone. 1996, gone. Why? Because I followed science. But I've also used science since to help a lot of people. I've sat in front of thousands of people, those that were classified as ASD and those that weren't. And without exception, well, you get to the point where you understand humanity so well because you've had it presented to you in so many different ways, in so many different words, in so many different manifestations, that you build this lexicon of understanding. And that's pretty much what I've done. So the book is that in words, basically, and also some videos to accompany it to explain, the manifestations of the physical responses that you can get when you're stuck in that quagmire. And all I'm doing is pulling people out of the quagmire. Lots of love, guys. I hope it's of help, and feel free to message. Take care.